Good evening, Patriots. It is Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. It's good to be here with all of you fine folks this evening. The situation in Kentucky seems to be heating up. We've got huge Biden bombshells that the mainstream media refuses to cover, and huge censorship news via the DOJ. Our guest tonight is one of Jack's most wanted and the Q movement's most beloved, an incredibly dedicated and uniquely brilliant digital soldier, a family man and patriot, the one and only IET. Hey, Quate, are you out there?
I'm here, homie.
It looks like Soros is giving out sweet shields in Kentucky tonight.
Shield. I don't know if I want one of those Soros shields. It probably has bad juju.
Can we send a homie to go pick one up or what? I need a sweet shield. How's everybody doing in the chat tonight? If you can hear us and everything's fine, please give me a 5x5. So, Kate, you don't want a sweet shield. I want a sweet shield. Anyway.
We can make our own in my garage.
Right? That'd be cool. We'll have to try that out. All right, so you ready to get this party started or what?
Let's do it, friend.
Alrighty, let's go. Welcome to another Pink Patriot Podcast live. I am Alara of Sirius. This is the Kate Awakening. And our guest today, Mr. IET.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So good to have you here. I know everybody's really excited. Oh, we've got a million 5x5s.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're looking good. All our audio's good. We're good to go. The prayers worked.
Service is good. You guys can hear me okay?
Yep, yeah. Sounds good.
You guys hear him good in the chat? All
5x5.
right, so how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Crazy day today. So much going on, right?
It seems like every day, we're tracking events. Tuesday, Wednesday last week, they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All of a sudden, there's like 100+ happenings each day, and it's a lot to keep up with, to be honest. But yeah, especially with the Burisma stuff this morning. I mean, there's a lot of people who said a lot of things positively about Biden and got behind him, and they all knew exactly what was going on. So this is pretty telling, and I wonder how much this is going to cost them in voters. And I hope, it's pretty clear, it's pretty obvious. And so I wonder if people will actually see it. The brainwash, they're still pretty sleepy, but this is a big one. So it's huge. It's huge.
It is, but it makes me think, do you think they're going to trade him out? This is almost like irreparable, don't you think?
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, how is that these articles are not written and then the next thing you see is a picture of them in their mugshot? Like, if any of the other citizens, like if you and I were to have done this, like we would already been in bars. We've already been prosecuted. We've already, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And this guy, as far as we know, is still walking around. Where is he?
Right. Where is Hunter?
Right?
Where's Hunter? Where'd he go? He's running.
Seriously.
Yeah, well, I would be, but yeah, I mean, I think it's an interest. I don't know the technicalities of what is the threshold that you can't, could they literally change the candidate up the day before, or is there a deadline? Do you guys know?
I don't know.
I mean, I think the only thing that is required is you have to be nominated by the delegates, but maybe. It would be really strange. Maybe Kamala would just go up.
That's
maybe
what I was saying.
Will
they switch out? Will Kamala just have to run? Or would they switch her out? Or I don't know that much about politics when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I think the presidential candidate chooses the VP. So the VP is not necessarily the one that was nominated. I don't know if they would just go straight linear like that, but maybe.
I mean, they already saw how she did and how the American people didn't want her to begin with. So
Black Americans all over don't want Kamala. She put a ton of them behind bars.
Yeah.
She's a liar.
Exactly. They don't have anything good. I think the closest they ever came to having anybody that would even stand a chance would have maybe been Tulsi. I don't think she had really the she didn't really have what it takes, I don't think, to beat Trump, but she was the most likable. She was the most logical, the most middle of the road that more people like gravitate. She wasn't psycho like basically everybody else up there. So they really made a mistake.
Well, she had a lot of rational thought, and like to this day, I still can't pin my finger on exactly her role, but I bet you she at least has a role in this some way, because a lot of the logical thought that she said, it just made sense to more of the middle, political speaking wise, like they're right in the middle, not far left. Like a lot of people were just understanding of her logical thought, and then of course you had the mainstream media pretty much just ignore her, write her off, and they were promoting other people who did not speak as much rational thought. And so I think that's a pretty telling, if she's part of us, if we're doing that, and she's a white hat, that's a really clever play.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely highlighted the craziness of everybody else.
I've seen her picture.
I'm not even going to do it.
No, I've seen it. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe she made a deal. Who knows? Maybe she didn't.
At this point, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's a Hawaii thing too.
Yeah.
They do. Now, I don't know. I don't know the context behind that picture, but isn't she from Hawaii? I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I've seen Hawaiians do that, and it means something completely different to them. I can't tell you what it means, but it means something.
And maybe they knew that. Maybe they knew that, but
and they knew we'd run with it because we didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you've lived in Hawaii, you wouldn't know that. I mean, unless you're Hawaiian.
Listen, this is all speculation anyway, right? So.
Yeah, every bit of it is. The only people I'm certain on are Trump and Flynn. Everybody else is up in the air as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm.
And whoever Q is, that guy too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or lady.
That dude.
That dude, that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
You can tell that it's different voices though sometimes. And I do sometimes wonder if any of them are female. I mean, heck, if it really is less than 10 and most of them are, military intelligence, I think math would tell us that there's a smaller probability that there's a female on the team. But I'm sure there are females definitely running ops for the Q team. Yeah. But as far as the people that are a part of the team that communicates with us directly through the drops, probably dudes.
What about the above and beyond videos? Come on, man. You don't think that's a girl doing that? What do you mean? There's gotta be one. There's gotta be at least one. Because the vibe of those posts are different from the other ones. I think there's a few different people posting this.
Well, the music. Go ahead.
Oh, nope. Okay. I was just gonna say, you remember when Trump just came back from Camp David? I think it was like the beginning of June.
Yeah.
And Q made a post like right as they arrived, and then later we got a post from Q Plus, but they both said Q on there with his login thing. My mind just
trip
spaced
code?
on that. Yes, thank you. All right. Q posted with his trip code, but his ID was different. So on the same bread, if you're on the same device, it will give you the same ID. Now that ID may change in the next bread, but if you're in the same bread, it should be the same ID. That's how you track like how many posts that user posted, as if you're not anonymous. But anyway, so he has his trip code, and then Q Plus posted, and it was a different ID, which means, it was the same ID, which means they were right next to each other. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. So it was the same ID. It's crazy. I bet you there are at least 3 different people who post as Q. Mm-hmm. And I wonder who's doing the stringer posts too, because that's got to be somebody who's just running ops on the field or something. I don't know if that's necessarily the head guy or whoever's leading the Q posts.
Yeah, for sure. We've gotten some hints. Yeah, we've gotten some hints that Dan Scavino is at least one of the people posting, I think.
Man, so that's kind of like what I was alluding to, just because he would be the one that was always next to Trump. Mm-hmm. Like, so how could you arrive back from Camp David and manage to have a Q post and a Q Plus post with the same idea and the same bread? So that would mean that they would have to be right next to each other. They would not be able to, because they posted within minutes, right? Mm-hmm. I think it was like a minute and a half.
Right. So were you on like 4chan and 8chan before Q, or did you start getting on there because of the Q drops? And when did you find out about Q?
Man, so let's back it up even a bit further. I live in Colorado. I came here for all the right reasons. I was a former liberal, right? But it was a bleeding heart liberal. You just want humanity and equality and clean air and legal weed and all the things, right? But when I met Jennifer, who's the lady that I'm with right now, you guys probably seen her on Twitter.
Yep.
She was, I was telling her when we first started dating, it's like, you know, all the things. Trump's a racist. This is crazy. I'm voting for Hillary. This is totally true story.
Wow.
And she said, without like any judgment at all, she goes, yeah, you should probably look into that.
That's awesome.
And I'll be honest, you know, I pretty much listened to what mainstream media said. When I was younger, I was too busy out, you know, doing college things and not really paying attention, really into sports, followed the NBA, followed LeBron James. He was like my favorite player. I watched every single one of his games. That was pretty disappointing to find out his status and where he's at.
Right.
But,
yeah, you mean that he's not really a king?
self-proclaimed, right? Self-proclaimed. He gave himself that title, did he not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I did start looking into it because she was like, you should do this. So, all right, fine, I will. And so I got onto 4chan by accident. One of my neighbors in my apartment complex who was he loved getting on there and he would send me all kinds of stuff from Poll. Got on there and figured out how to use it. And I was on there when FBI Ain't On posted on there. And then, of course, I found the original anonymous video that was released, I think, October 12th, 2016. And I think the title of the video is 1 million views or over 1 million views. And it was basically, in the anonymous voice, they were talking about how there's secret sex tapes of Bill Clinton raping a 13-year-old girl and that they have it. And that this whole election is about trying to, you know, use Trump as the Pied Piper to get Hillary elected. And I guess they didn't even see that Trump was part of the other side doing all this. I don't know why they would think he's a Pied Piper. Like, he was your arch enemy. He's taking you down right now. So
Right.
that was a big oops on their part. But anyway, and it talked all about Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein and co. and the $1 billion he gave him back in the 80s just so he could be around the elites. It talked about the island. It talked about Lolita Express and the flight logs. So when Q hopped on the scene like a year later, I was already on 4chan checking everything out because we had already been just going through all this stuff. And he essentially confirmed it, right? So we were like, this guy's saying pretty much everything that we've been talking about on here is true. And all of a sudden connecting all the dots for us. So yeah, I was there when, you know, they came on, but all of the shills, they drop all of the crazy gore, the porn. It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they locked that thing down so hard, you would open a bread and it would be filled in like 2 or 3 minutes, if not less. So nobody was posting anything credible anymore, attacking DOS all the time. So then we moved to 8chan, and then they shut that down legally, and then we have to go to 8kun, right? So.
Wow.
Yeah, and in the meantime, after 8chan went down, it seems to me like at that point, a lot of the Anons that kind of swore off ever being on any social media, they really didn't have a choice at that point. If they wanted to be a part of the research and a part of the conversation, they kind of had to move to Twitter.
Yeah.
You were already on Twitter. When did you get on Twitter? Like posting about this stuff?
Oh, when I found that original anonymous video, I was already posting that all over Facebook, all over Twitter. I made a couple accounts. And I was also into the anti-vaccine stuff. You know, I saw Jordan Sather. He was posting underneath Aaron Elizabeth's stuff. She's Health Nut News. She's married to Joseph Mercola, and they run that Mercola website, which he's like a total holistic guy. Mm-hmm. He was posting underneath her stuff, and she was getting attacked. So that's how I found Sather, and this was all before Q. So this is crazy. I was on Twitter. Yeah. I kind of went back and forth between Twitter and Facebook because back then, you know, I would only make it to like 10,000 followers, 12,000 followers, and then I'd get kicked off. So I didn't really
Twitter's
have
most wanted.
Yeah. I didn't really have a big voice, but I had you know, I was willing to use it. And I said, you know, I pointed everything out and I wasn't really afraid. No filter.
Yeah.
More filter these days, much more filter.
Well, you've been burned before. Yeah. I mean, Yeah, but you still, I am surprised at what you are, like how you'll still go at it. Cause I know that every time you come back, how much work goes into that and how careful you have to be. And then you come out and just straight out the gate, you're just like a bull in a china shop. And I'm like, oh, there he goes.
Boom. Well, like, listen, am I going to waste all my time sitting there, like waiting for, people to follow or whoever so they can retweet my stuff?
Right.
Or am I just going to get right after it? If they're going to find me and suspend me, so be it. Might as well, go after and get
IET's
it
about
done.
this life.
He's about
No, but for real.
He's committed. Like I said.
I'm totally committed.
Yeah.
That's
you have
me,
no
though.
idea. I put on notifications so that I would get notified every time you tweeted. And I think that lasted about 8 hours. I was like, nope. Like, you are an absolute beast. You never stop. It was just like which is awesome because I know that I could always go to your page and find everything that was happening. And it was always that was the biggest bummer about you getting taken down, is that not only did we lose all of that content, but you had some really great threads. Like, what was it? The thread at 1871?
Yeah, active 1871. I still have it. I'm going to make it into a video. I've been talking with Q the Wake Up about it, and we want to put some graphics together and have it narrated so that it can be stored on a video and people can just watch it. Just waiting on some time for that. So we'll have to, that reminds me, I probably should just get that done ASAP. It's just been crazy the last little bit. Like, how can you take time to do anything when you have this much going on? And it's just been a wild ride these last 2 weeks. You just want to watch it all. You just want to soak it all in. I mean, some of this is absolutely crazy. And some of it, you're dealing with all of the kickback from society. You don't want to wear a mask. You got to deal with people. It's just, but anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited for the next, and that's kind of messed up to say, because a lot of people are having a very hard time right now. And that's not to say that I'm not either. We all share some sort of burden, and our burdens may be different.
No, I really think that's why you've been such an important voice in this, because you're always so light and you see the fun in things, and you are positive, and your energy is so great. You've always had that energy. And I think that people have gravitated towards you for that exact reason. And, that is what people, I think, need even more than the great digs and the really important information, because the information is coming and a lot of it is over people's head. I am one of those people, but I will gravitate towards the people that are like, come on, gang, let's keep going. And that's you.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of great people and a lot of great accounts that break down the information. I mean, there's just so much of it. It's so hard for one person to do it all. So it's great that we have literally millions of us. How many on Twitter? I don't know, probably a couple 100,000, 500,000, a million worldwide. I don't know. It's a decent amount. They can't stop us, that's for sure. No. And a lot of those are followers, but there's people that are picking their themselves up by the bootstraps and doing more of the heavy lifting. And that's good, and that's great, and we need people to do that.
So IET, what keeps you going at that high energy level that you seem to have, regardless, no matter how many accounts they take down, no matter what, you seem to keep this energy level? What keeps you going?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but I guess if you wanted to find specific examples, my mother passed away from cancer when I was 17 years old, and I watched her take 19 different types of chemotherapy, and each one after another fail across 3 years. And some of the side effects, I mean, they're horrid. Like in one of them, her skin would slough off. Her skin. Oh my gosh. It just start falling off. Like, are you serious? Right. And as a child, it just never made sense to me. Like, how is this the best option? How is this what you have to do to beat cancer? And nobody would really explain like what cancer was and how it. So when I got into holistic medicine, it was more eye-opening experience about all of the hidden truths and how the body actually works and the things that you can do to keep yourself from getting these types of things, especially avoiding certain toxins and chemicals and products and the things that you see in vaccines, et cetera. I mean, the stuff that I learned in just the school period was more than enough for me to be like, see, I knew this was true. And even at that point, I went on telling everybody, and nobody wanted to hear it because everyone has this blind trust in the authority that's been given to them, whether it's the American Medical Association, whether it's the FDA or the CDC or whoever's running the officials in the government, whoever, it doesn't matter. We just have this like blind trust, and everyone says the same thing. And so this groupthink just keeps everybody trapped. And so I was kind of fighting in the dark by myself, seems like a little bit back in the day. And then of course, politically woke up, and then it's just been really a downfall. So it's almost like revenge. Like, how dare you? They killed so many people with just using chemotherapy. That stuff just absolutely destroys everything that keeps you alive, to include red blood cells, white blood cells, hair, skin, your inner lining of your stomach, your mouth, anything that has a high turnover rate because it's used a bunch or it's needed to be perfect all the time because it's your barrier to the inside of your body. And they just destroy these things. So you have no immune system, no ability to carry oxygen, and your tissues are just getting slammed with these chemicals in hopes that they can kill this cancer that's inside of you, basically bring you to the brink of death, and then hope that you survive it. And of course, the chemo itself causes more DNA damage, etc. So when these cures come out, and they have been for the last couple of years, man, have they been. And I hope they keep coming out. Like, people are going to really wake up, I think, in a big way to realize that we were lied to. And a lot of people lost loved ones. I don't think there's a single person that doesn't know somebody that's died from cancer.
Yep. It's touched everybody. Mm-hmm. It took my grandparents. It's taken a lot of my family. So I can totally understand and relate.
I've got friends that have lost children to it. I can't even imagine how they're going to go on, because it's one thing if you think it's just God's will, but when you find out that there was I don't even want to say a human element, because what kind of a human being can do this, but that these people were keeping these things from them, that their child could still be alive. I can't even imagine recovering from that.
Nope.
Just wait till they all find out, you guys. Wait till they all figure it out. How badly they've been duped in every way imaginable. They're going to be pissed.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be pissed. So I think this is just happening slower because we're on kind of the edge of it. We're not seeing that this is just happening slower maybe for us than we'd like, but at a point it's gonna reach critical mass. Like, they're all gonna wake up and they're gonna realize it. They're gonna be mad when they figure out how badly they've been lied to and conned and brainwashed and. Ooh-wee.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Melissa says, can you share some of what you learned about holistic healing? Any sources to point to? I'd love more info.
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of information just on the NCBI website where you can go look up any of the research that's there. Just type in the stuff that you want to see. Cures for blank, holistic cure for blank, and you just got to search through the website. Millions and millions and millions of documents. A lot of that stuff doesn't get brought to public attention because it's not funded well, or it's not, people don't want to advertise that stuff.
Or you get killed because you talk about it.
Right. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of websites that even talk about some of this good stuff. Now, I can't say that everything that they post is 100% accurate because I haven't verified everything that they've said, but a lot of what they've said is good stuff. And so, like, Natural News sometimes has some great stuff. Health Nut News is run by Erin Elizabeth. It's the wife of Joseph Mercola. She's got great stuff. Joseph Mercola himself has great stuff. I would go use those probably.
Yeah, there are a lot of people out there with testimonies, and of course, these, we've been so brainwashed into thinking like, okay, you can only get the correct information from these certain channels and beware of anything outside of these certain channels. But you can meet people in real life and talk to them that have testimonies of how they did certain things and got rid of certain things by changing their diet and alkalizing their body, or using these, whatever it was. So if it was me, all I'm saying is that if it was me, I would try all of those things before I tried the stuff that I knew that was like going to also harm me as well.
Right. I would try a lot of stuff before I ever did chemotherapy. Actually, I'd probably try nothing before I tried chemotherapy. It's like that's just my opinion though. So,
yeah. And everybody, it's, once you're faced with that decision also because they've used the fear against us too. So, it does become a different thing once you get diagnosed. I'm sure that it's like, even if you've researched some of these things and you wholeheartedly believe in them, it's like, oh man, like, am I going to bargain with my life by not doing what these authorities tell me to do? But there is a lot of research. I mean, even like the other day I had an earache and I was like, I Googled holistic cure for an earache. And it was like oregano oil. And I tried the oregano oil, and I get earaches I've had in my whole life. It was incredible. It was gone within maybe 20 minutes and it never came back. I did smell like a pizza for like 3 or 4 days. It wouldn't come out, but it worked.
I'm with you absolutely 100%. I used to make fun of all those people that did the like Young Living or doTERRA, and you make fun of them because they do the multi-level marketing. But really what they're selling you, those essential oils are crazy. So I have a couple of tattoos, and one of my tattoo artists actually ran out of distilled water, bacteriostatic water. And so he used tap water, I didn't know, in my tattoo, and it got infected. I just thought, I'll just put some hydrocortisone cream on it, I'll Benadryl or something. It was like an allergic reaction to the ink. And it got worse, and it was pretty bad actually. And then I was at my office and this lady came in and she's like, here, just try this. And she busted out her Young Living, and I was like, oh, here we go. and she was like, here, put a couple drops on there. And I did. And I shit you not, in 24 hours, it was totally healed. Like, not even just partially healed and getting better, but like clear is it was crazy, absolutely crazy. Totally 100% believe in everything that you need to fix yourself, to be healthy, to be vital, is already here on earth. Yep. And that should be no surprise to anybody. I totally believe that.
Absolutely. Laura says, I'm interested to know this too from you. What's IET's guess on the vaccine release coming? Is it a 3D chess move, ultimately exposing vaccine dangers?
Oh man, that's a tough question, right? So you got Q post that says the cure will spread worldwide. Well, trust Trump, and Trump says the vaccine is going to be good. Do you take it? And like everyone's like, no, absolutely not. And man, that's a tough question. And I would probably still say no. But if I knew what it was, like let's say because of prophylactic properties, hydroxychloroquine acted as a vaccine and then he passed it out that way. Or maybe there's actually another thing they have up their sleeve that's similar to, it's just an innocuous substance that would otherwise be, no side effects whatsoever. And all of a sudden it has a whole bunch of cures to it. And that would be just the craziest thing if the Democrats then opposed it. Because now look at what they're doing, right? Trump's like, we got this vaccine and it's going to be safe and it's going to be fast and we already have it and blah, blah, blah. And the Democrats are like, no vaccines. Right. And so maybe that's the ploy, right? Is to get the Democrats to say, oh, well, we got to have some research into this. And, we should probably look at, and questioning the vaccines all of a sudden wakes up the normies to the possibility that maybe these crazy conspiracy theorists talking about how vaccines are bad for you might actually have a point.
He's going to vaccinate us with light. We're going to get light vaccines. I've heard a rumor about them might be benevolent, you know what I mean? So maybe, who knows, but
yeah, listen, if they're not transparent about what it is, if they're not transparent about what's inside of it and the mechanism on which it plans on acting, like there's no way in hell I'm taking anything. So like all this information better be laid out in a scientific manner for anybody who can to read the research can say definitively, okay, there are 0 side effects. There is nothing in there that's toxic whatsoever. There's no DNA altering substances, blah, 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 blah.
Right. Which I fully believe.
By the way, that's what a virus is, by the way. Its purpose is to bring different code and alter DNA. P.S.
Interesting.
I'm telling you.
Interesting.
China's up to something. Beyond beyond what it looks like on the surface. Right?
Yeah, and if you got altered DNA, that can go a lot of ways wrong for a lot of people.
Right.
Depends on how it was altered.
Right. But I think Trump knows, and I think he would never push something that wasn't like that. And again, I don't know. I think it's kind of more likely that he's kind of calling their bluff. He's a businessman. He knows how to come to the table and pretend like he's going to negotiate with them better than he is. And that's what we've seen him do it a few times. That's why I get frustrated with people when he comes out and, because people, I understand it because I know how passionate people are about certain things like vaccines and, you know, whatever. But when somebody just wants to throw him out after all of the things that we've seen him do, just because he's coming out and saying something now, he's not doing it, he's just saying it. We have to understand that he's playing 5D chess, and that there might be a reason that he's saying it. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to endorse a vaccine.
Yeah, look.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Hold on.
Go ahead, Alara.
I was just gonna say, look how everybody freaked out about remember when he made those 6G, 7G tweets? Everybody was like, what is he talking about? They freaked out, and I was like, okay, hold on. I was like, wait a second, there's something to this right here, right? And it turns out, you know what I mean? That 5G is the weaponized stuff. The 6G, 7G is how we're moving into the quantum system of all that, you know, and we're bypassing the how do you say that company name? Hawaii? What is it? Hawaii?
Huawei.
We're bypassing Huawei and the weaponized 5G, you know, so there was a plan the whole time. That's why we can't jump to conclusions. You know what I mean? Like you were just saying.
Well, listen, 5G is just described as a size of waves. It's a frequency. Mm-hmm. And if you think about, you know, Tesla's work and the 369, you just being off by one number in your frequency can be the difference between distortion and harmony. And right. So the way you figure that out is the numbers in the system. Like, let's say you have 432, right? That's not going to be necessarily a 5G frequency, but let's just use that number. But 4 plus 3 plus 2 is 9. 9 is divisible by 3. Therefore, 432 is divisible by 3. So that number in and of itself is supposed to be a harmonizing number. And if you look at, you know, music that's really played at 440, 4 plus 4 plus 0 is 8. 8 is not divisible by 3. Therefore, 440 is not divisible by 3. That's a distortion. So there's like sacred geometry that the universe kind of like plays with. And they try to create disruptions into the system. And those disruptions have an effect on our cells, on our everything, on our DNA included. So there's not necessarily people are rightfully and justifiably afraid of 5G, but it's about who controls it and what frequencies are being used, because you can still use this for the benefit of all.
Mm-hmm. This was a question from earlier. It was Tyler, I think, that asked them. He said, ask him if he thinks the U.S. is still the corporation created with the Act of 1871, or has that changed?
I think it's still there. It may be slowly transitioning, but you still kind of see the gold fringe, and you still see them. Trump is ruling by executive order. So if nothing else, that power structure is still there. And you saw that with the Supreme Court, right? They ruled against DACA, or they ruled for DACA. They were trying to get rid of it and saying it was unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court said, no, it's an executive order. You can't overturn an executive order unless it's through an executive order, thus proving that this system of hierarchy, where there's not checks and balances, there's a linear power where the president is the Caesar, that system still exists. And they know that. And Trump can totally use that against them, to include implementing voter ID executive orders, to include whatever he wants. Honestly, we just have to kind of trust that he's going to use it for goodwill. But he could literally just, with the stroke of a pen, do whatever he wants. Right.
Do you think that's coming?
I mean, you got to think that was part of their plan. They're using their own system against them. It's kind of like the internet. You know, they used that to surveil us and gave us all cell phones and smart TVs and all that stuff. And then we kind of flipped the game on them and used it to wake up everybody to their bullshit. So it's like the same way. We're using their own systems against them, and they're falling right into the trap every single time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I love that. And that was such a great thread. That was such an eye-opening thread. I really hope that you do make a video out of that, because it's so, we need that. We need like that for children also. We need to make like how a bill becomes a law cartoon, but of that.
Oh, what is it called? Hold on. I love those little shows, those little, the cartoon bill. You just go around and that would be good. Yeah, that would be good. No, it's not a bad idea. I mean, I imagine someone's going to have to make children's books about what the Q movement is. And maybe they'll use little Pepes.
Right. That's a great idea.
And they'll use little Pepes. Yeah, and it's just like, you can totally be kind of childish with Pepe, and it just flows.
We're childish with Pepe, and we love it. That's like our
exactly.
Think about the way we react to stuff with our little Pepe. I feel naked without my Pepe gifts. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It's like a language that we just become so comfortable with. It's just our own language. I don't know.
There's literally a Pepe for everything.
Right.
Yes.
Everything.
And like certain events, like the natural thing is to have Pepe dance. Like it's just, I feel weird without my GIF. I can't, when I'm on YouTube, I can't use a GIF button. Drives me nuts.
And it drives the left nuts.
That's even better.
Left nuts. Yeah. Like they just hate it. Why? He's a green frog. What does he do? Why does he bother you so much?
He's
get it.
Racist. Didn't you know he's racist?
Have you ever looked at Pepe in Google?
White supremacy. I know exactly.
Yeah, totally.
It's a bunch of racist Pepe memes that we didn't even make.
Oh my
people
goodness.
Are sick.
Well, we definitely commandeered him. He has been around for and the guy that drew him, I think, is bummed on the fact that he's been completely taken over by Trump supporters and Q people and patriots. But you know what? Just like you were saying, we've used all of their systems against them. All your Pepe belong to us now. So.
Yes, all your Pepe belong to us. Yes, exactly.
What if you guys had to take an estimate? What percentage of the country do you think is awake?
I actually answered this question in our group DM earlier. So I would garner about 80 to 85%. I would even say as high as 87%. And so here's my thinking. I actually do. Wow. And people may say that's really high, but hear me out. I'm in Denver, and at my office in the middle of Denver, I probably have 80% of my clients are Trump supporters, original conservatives, or were Democrat and now are Trump supporters. A lot of them are just really quiet, and they don't people come into my office. They're not really sure if they should talk about politics. They're not really sure if they can say what they really think. And then once they realize it's a safe environment, and even with liberals too, I don't ever push myself and my opinions onto anybody. I let people talk. And once they tell me what they think, I kind of have an idea of where they lie, and I know what to say and what not to say in certain situations. That being said, I have definitely red-pilled probably 20 people out of my office in the last 4 years, pretty prominent far lefties. And we probably have like an 80-20 split, Trump versus Democrat. And this is in Denver, right? And on the board yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, I can't remember, so many things. And Anon posted from Northern California saying he was driving around town from getting off of work, and he didn't see a single Biden sticker, where in 2016 you would have seen countless Hillary I'm with her stickers and all over San Francisco and that Northern Bay area. That's pretty telling. That's pretty telling.
Yeah. You
look at any of those rallies Trump's going to, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada. He went to Las Vegas. So we're talking Democrat Central. It's like a San Francisco almost, but it's for Las Vegas. Anyway, people were showing up in mass there. The rally size was just huge. So how is it possible that Trump lost any support? And if you're telling me after 4 years of the Democrats doing absolutely nothing and getting everything wrong, Russian collusion wrong, Ukraine quid pro quo wrong,
everything,
everything. And the Democrats and the media, the liberal media, they're on there talking about how, this is it. And so the liberals get their hopes up and they get their hopes up, and then they come out and then it's like, and then they do this over and over and over again. How many times does that have to happen before people are like, okay, wait a second. That's bullshit.
Right.
And so how many people have walked away? How many people are Blexit, right? Black exit from the Democrat Party? What do we have from Robinson was like 35 or 40% of Black America is supporting Trump right now. That is huge. Yeah. That is absolutely huge. And then there's the majority of Hispanics are in support of Donald Trump, to include people from, Cuba, who definitely don't want communism. Absolutely not. Yep. And, people that came here legally from South America or from Central America or from Mexico or from any of those islands that are out there in the Caribbean, they don't, they came here legally and they see all these people coming in illegally, and they're, working their butts off to try to actually do it right. And all these illegals are getting free stuff. And then they're the ones paying for it. They're not happy about this. They're pissed. So tell me who is like jumping off the Trump train right now? Who's doing that?
Right.
If you are already on the Trump train, have already accepted that he's kind of rough around the edges. But you actually like that. You think it's funny now because he's taunting the liberals.
It's true.
And he just gets a reaction out of them. It's like a little laser on the ground, and then the cat just jumps on it every single time. They can't help it. And so
I was just saying the Democrats are co-signing all the violence and anarchy. Like,
totally. Totally. So, and believe me, those people in Portland, those people in Seattle and Kenosha and all of these places where the riots are occurring, they are not happy about it. Like the business owners, you got people from violent protesters or rioters from Black Lives Matters and Antifa and other burning down Black businesses, destroying Black property, killing Black people. And you think Black people don't see this? You think that they're just oblivious? The media makes it look like the majority thinks a certain way, but really they just zoomed in their camera and kind of panned in so you can't see outside that they really only have like a small amount of people.
Right. And I would say, I saw somebody saying in the chat, just being a Trump supporter doesn't mean that somebody's necessarily awake. In my opinion, what I call somebody is awake, it doesn't mean that they have all the answers. It means that they are starting to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
And just like you were saying, these people are now seeing that they've been bamboozled. They are no longer just trusting of the mainstream media. That is the point. Now they're out there saying, what else have they been lying to about us, or lying to us? So, and I'm with you. Like, I actually believe that you're right, that it is very high, that it has tipped in the balance of being, more of us than there are of them at this point. They are just way
more. I promise you, there are people who are very quiet. Just drive around. Go. If you live in a Democrat metropolitan area, drive around, go into the neighborhoods, count the Biden signs. Count them. How many are there? How many Hillary signs were there in 2016? Seriously, they were littered all over the place.
And every celebrity was wearing a shirt that was like, I'm with her, and all of that.
You want to know what the Trump sign is? That's not the Trump sign, but you can tell it's the Trump sign. It's the American flag. People are driving around with the American flag, flying out the backs of their trucks, hanging. I personally have 20 in my front yard, various different sizes, whatever. Not trying to overdo anybody, but lots of patriotism here. But people have them in their windshields. They have them in their businesses. I saw a fire truck the other day. It was just going down the street and has a massive American flag hanging off the back. That's totally not necessary, but they're doing it anyway. Yeah. And so they don't necessarily have to voice that they're MAGA, but they're voicing that they're pro-America. And that's the reason why Donald Trump's winning. It ain't about him. It's about the Democrats for the Democrats, but it's not about Trump. It's about America. And people see that. And so when they chant, USA, at Trump rallies, they're not chanting necessarily, we love Trump. I mean, although they have just recently, it was really awesome, actually.
Yeah.
But they're all about the USA.
We love our country.
Trump's absolutely.
Yep.
And when people say like, that God bless the USA song, and I'd proudly stand up and do it all again. Absolutely. Like, people have died so that we can have this right to be free in America. And even though we are not technically free, we are potentially about to be. And by potentially, I mean, let's hope so, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If that's the plan,
we're gonna be.
If you're doing all this Q movement, if you're ending the Federal Reserve and subsequently maybe taking away the IRS and undoing all these trade deals and getting rid of our debt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, like that is undoing the corporate constitution and the corporate America. And so maybe we actually will be sovereign and actually free. And so that's something that we should all be excited for. And so you mentioned earlier, what keeps you going? Like, can you imagine having that opportunity to live in that type of environment where you truly are free to do whatever it is you please?
Slaves no more.
Seriously.
Right.
And like that includes financially.
Yep.
The financial burden they put on the average person, if there's no way for you to get ahead. You'd have to really work yourself into the ground in order to barely make it. But they tax you so much. Democrat cities. And if you want to do business where there's commerce and lots of it, then you're gonna have to pay the taxes. And that's just part of the system that they have set up. Imagine having a small business and not having to pay an income tax and not having to pay a property tax. or a real estate tax, or any of these things where they just take piece by piece, chunk by chunk on a monthly or annual basis. They ruin and destroy any profit you get. So how are you supposed to grow? Meanwhile, these corporations have billions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions, and they just do whatever they want, right? Oh, some recession comes, no big deal. Good thing we had seriously, $100 billion in the bank.
Right. So do you think all that stuff is coming like that? Just kind of.
You have to think it is, right? I mean, you have to assume that if this is what we're doing, if we're truly getting rid of evil, and evil did strap us into slaves financially, globally, across the world. You got to believe that's the way it's going to go. And that's probably why all of these other countries are so eager to sign on, amongst other things, not the only reason, but they're promising these countries sovereignty too, and freedom from the deep state strongholds, because they're in every country and they have bad politicians. It's not to say that Afghanistan is a bad country because they're Muslim. They're not bad people over there. They have bad leaders and bad people controlling their money, and they're oppressing their people. It's the same thing in every single country. And so the true people, the people that really just want to get on with their lives, they want to be happy and do whatever it is they were going to do for their whatever. We don't want to deal with that. And we're going to be the ones that save ourselves from it all. So
absolutely. That's why they're all looking to us to see what's going to happen here, because they know whatever happens here is going to be an indicator of what can happen there.
Absolutely. You don't get, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I get on all kinds of tangents. I can go for days. So you're going to have to stop me if you want me to stop.
I know. Alara was like, did you have questions for him? I'm like, don't worry about it. I was like, once we get him going, he'll be good.
I'll just talk. Yeah. So he got invited to the hidden city, the hidden temple in China. Did he not? Remember, and there's a Q post that says, remember, maybe Putin and Xi and Trump are working together. That was a Q post.
Right.
And so if he got invited to the hidden temple, I mean, maybe, listen, this is all speculation, right? So I'm not saying anything is fact, but maybe Xi is just as blackmailed as anybody else. Maybe, right?
Yeah.
And he's forced to by the Chinese Communist Party and the deep state in China, which, by the way, they got to love China, right? They've been doing communism over there for forever.
Right. They've definitely got the toughest, strangle on that country, which has been really, really sad. Miracle Girlie asked, hey, IET, what do you think the October surprise will be?
Probably just boom after boom after boom. So this is all, once again, just speculation. This is just my opinion. So we've been, not every 2-year delta, but a lot of 2-year deltas have been pretty dead on. But you can't say that just because it's a 2-year delta that it's guaranteed that that's going to happen in 2 years, right? Ironically enough, Chuck Grassley tweeted today, and then it just slipped my mind. The harvest, yes,
first harvest,
the harvest,
is ready.
and then of course that was posted 2 years prior to the day as Q ready for the harvest,
it's
pretty wild, right?
Trust Grassley, right?
It was Trust Grassley, exactly. And so if you think, all right, Red October, that was 2018, 2 years, October this year. If they're going to call it Red October, to me that seems like it's going to be a flood of red pills. It's going to be a flood of awakening. It's going to be a flood of drops, boom after boom after boom. I cannot see any way that Trump would ever let the Democrats have a chance in the election. You can't, right? There's a 20-year military plan in the making. So they had to have counted every single detail and accounted for everything that could possibly happen and made sure that they were going to win in 2020. So I imagine there's going to be a series of, I don't know if it's going to be arrests or not. Maybe that can't happen until after the election for fear of them saying, you're arresting political opponents. That's a true thing. We have to keep those that are not awake yet from rioting and going out and hurting themselves because they're just completely outraged and the media has entirely fooled. But you can slowly trickle in some stories that wake people up. Oh, all the media and the Democrats were like pro Biden. Oh, here's the Biden report dropped by the GOP today. Oh, you guys literally lied about everything, and you knew about it at the time. Yep. So imagine more of that, more. And so until basically is we're going to win by all 50, right? 538 to 0.
Yeah, that's going to be something I've never seen before.
Because how do you contest that as a Democrat? Everyone's worried, oh, the mail-in votes. We're going to have to count all the mail-in votes. Okay, but when you're losing by 100 million votes, and that's just a number I'm putting out there. But let's just say that you got, all 50 states, and it was the highest turnout of voters ever because everyone's paying attention politically, or a lot more people ever were than ever were before.
Oh, hang on one sec. Do you need to reset something?
No, they said his voice is cutting out. It should be fixed now. Maybe get closer to your mic just in case. But I think I fixed the problem.
Oh, okay, it sounded good on my end, but
yeah, it's if it was what I think it is, then I fixed it.
Yeah, JLW says it's not. It's 5-5. Not anymore. It's good.
So where do I need to start back at?
I don't know. I just started seeing it about like 30 seconds ago. So
I probably said so much in 30 seconds.
Right.
Probably. Is it better, you guys? Okay, everybody's saying it's better now.
I have a question for you, IET. So
yeah, what's up?
So most of you've had so many accounts now that it's just, it couldn't be kept up. But how come so many of your accounts have the term ET in it? Like how did that start and why? Curious.
Yeah, so back a long time ago, there was a Q post, and I have it saved, but I can't remember the number. But one of the Anon posters said something about fellow extraterrestrials, or hello, greetings, fellow incarnated extraterrestrials. And so since I couldn't make it incarnated extraterrestrials, I just made it incarnated ET. I'm not an alien. That's not anything. Like it's just a name. Ironically enough, it also stands for existential threat, which was another one of my handles. Yeah, which is this. Right? Yeah, this actually is for them, right? Whoever loses in November.
It's so funny because I think that a lot of people that now Twitter has become their persona and didn't really think about it as much when they started out and were like, okay, I'm just going to make a Twitter handle. Like Beer at the Parade. Now everybody calls him Beer, and people call me.
No, but I know Beer.
That's my last name. I know.
No, beer is awesome, absolutely, and there will be beer at the parade, absolutely.
We're just like these Great Awakening characters with these weird names.
I don't even drink. I don't drink alcohol at all, and there will be beer had. I promise.
Yeah,
celebration. It's going to be the biggest celebration. I mean, imagine when people actually figure out like what was happening and what Trump actually did and what it is that they have now as far as freedom. There will be parties in the street all over the nation. I promise.
You know what I was just thinking about? I remember when we first went on the lockdown and a lot of us were talking, we're like, man, this has got to be it. This is it, man. We're on lockdown. There are going to be arrests are going to happen. And now looking back at what has happened since then, now we can see how necessary it has been totally shitty, but all of that shittiness has been so necessary and has been waking people up, and it's going to make the outcome that much sweeter because we've been through all of this crap now. It wouldn't have meant as much back then.
Well, and I don't necessarily think that we were wrong. It's just not being publicly announced. Right. And I don't know that necessarily the top players were the ones that were being taken down so much as it was the pawns, the lower side of things that were happening. Because look at all the child trafficking operations that are currently going on underneath the guise of coronavirus. Look at where all the National Guard is and the military that is deployed out in the United States. What did Q say? They will go out under the guise of National Guard being deployed, and that's when it's going to happen, right? Yeah. They were going to go out and protect the citizens from the riots, and that's what they're doing. They literally are. And Trump's making the governors actually do it for him. Who was it? Oregon or Washington was like, nah, we're not going to. But then all those wildfires, they were like, okay, please. And so it didn't it didn't really matter. We got it regardless. And so, all of these things, they're the ones letting Trump in. And it's because of their plan that they want to unfoil. we are essentially allowing them to maneuver us into a position where we are completely set up to actually do exactly what Q said. And that is the National Guard's deployed. They're everywhere already. Boom, here it goes. And maybe that's going to be, I mean, maybe that's 11-3. Who knows, right? I have no idea. I seriously have no idea.
I don't know if you saw it the other day, but I posted anyway, the drops 11 and 12, which is talking about basically how Antifa is feeding into the plan. And obviously that was posted in 2017. They were the first couple Q drops. But now to look at that, 3 years later, and to see how exactly Antifa is playing into the plan as far as giving the president a reason to declare martial law if that's what's going to be necessary.
Right. He's forced. They literally force his hand into doing exactly what he wants to do. That's how you know he's a genius. He is straight up a genius. The people say 156 is his IQ. No, it's got to be 170. It's got to be like,
at least.
I don't know. It's so good. He's so smart. He has me full. But look, people will respond emotionally to some of those things, like the vaccine thing, and he says something. But it's like, how many times did Q use us into thinking that it was going to happen so that we would go out and make a bunch of noise about how it was going to happen, which made all those deep state players go, oh my God, it's going to happen. And then what do? They used their ammunition, which they had a bunch of it, and they were kind of storing it. And we were like, no, we need to get those false flags out of the way. So go ahead and expel some of those. Oh, they thought it was going to happen now. Now it's not. Pull the rug underneath you. And them using RBG right now, that's a big one, right? I don't know how many other big ones they have, but that's about as big as it gets for me, just because of they're going to play the women's rights. They're going to play the Roe v. Wade. And they're going to say, listen, if you don't want to vote for Biden, you at least want to vote for women's rights and for your right to have abortion. And they're going to take that away from you. They're going to get into your uterus. Like, no, we actually want you to keep your uterus and all the things that belong inside of it. Just for yourself. We don't want it, actually.
Right. Exactly.
You just keep that and let it be, right? Oh, life is on Venus, by the way, and Mars, which that's totally cool, right? Single cellular organisms are kind of floating away in planets that are super far away. But
a baby is just a cluster.
Yeah, it's just a cluster of cells, yo. It's not actually life. Not actually life at all.
Yeah, I'm with you that Ginsburg was a major card for them to play, and they've probably had that one on ice, like maybe quite literally, for a long time. Waiting to use it.
And if nothing else, like, I don't know, she definitely wasn't just walking around working out and then doing all these other things, which makes you wonder. All these events that she had. Yeah, totally.
She was at yoga with HRC.
Oh my goodness, lifting weights in the mirror. She, her and Barack Obama have similar form when they're lifting weights.
I'm trying to catch up. Who are you guys talking about?
RBG.
Sorry.
RBG and Obama. No, you're good. No, so I mean, they played that card for sure, and now I guess they're assuming their platform is absolute garbage, and this is the only thing they have as a chance. That and Bloomberg and now LeBron. They're just going to buy out all these people's, bails and pay off all their crimes and whatnot so that they can come out and become citizens to vote for Democrat. And that's totally illegal, by the way. 2 years per count when you try to buy a vote. So $100 million from Bloomberg, goodness gracious. And I believe the LA sheriffs, challenged LeBron to match helping out those cops that got shot. And instead, he wants to bail out the criminals who probably would have done it. Really telling about LeBron James.
As if we didn't already know what an asshole he was.
Right? Pizza party, Culver City. Been a minute, huh, right. LeBron?
Ugh, he's so gross. Alara, did you want to? We should probably go into the whatchamacallit?
Yeah.
The stuff
going on, huh?
The happenings.
Right. The happenings. So, okay, let me switch over here. I can pull up.
We've just been going.
Incarnated fruit. Yeah, I don't know what I missed while I was gone, guys. Sorry about that, but.
No, it's all right.
All right, so let's
you didn't miss much.
We can go into the happenings first, and then any of these other articles we need to pull up, we can pull up. So, Incarnated Fruit, since he's down now, she's been putting these up. She's been posting these up. And
hey, do you have a new Twitter now, IET, or are you still down?
Maybe I do.
Okay. Well, yeah, we won't announce it, right?
No.
We don't want to get him hemmed up before he even gets going.
Yeah, give him like 5 minutes.
Right.
This one's not so obvious, but maybe I'm there, maybe I'm not. We'll see, huh?
Hey, he's everywhere, guys. He's always there. He's right there with you. Whenever you see a good post, IET is right there with you.
No, come on now. There's so many good people on there. There's so many good people.
I know, totally. But that was one of the beauties of you also, is that you were one of those first guys that was like getting super big, that was retweeting everyone. I remember the first time you retweeted me. I retweeted you because your posts are hilarious. Absolutely hilarious responses.
I just have to and so that's what I do. I don't necessarily go after, any account per se. Like I want someone to say something clever or have something really intelligent to say or be really funny. I really like memes as well. So I like to follow a lot of really good memers, Sir William Scott, Gun Fag. Then we got Pappy, G Money, but he had to change his name, Pappy 45. There's so many good ones. Yeah, absolutely. So many good memers, and they make the video ones. Girth Brooks, he's another good one. Yeah. So I follow that as well. There's a lot of people that are like, hey, follow me, follow back. And if I had time to follow everyone that followed me, I would seriously, that's what I would be doing all day. I would just be like, follow. And you want me to put the information out instead of following people. So usually if it's eye catching, I'll see it in my notifications because it's already been liked 100 times. And I'll open it up and be like, oh yeah, that is absolutely hilarious. Hit retweet. And it could be anybody, right? It could be some guy that has 30 followers, and it could be some guy that has who knows how many. It doesn't matter. But there's a lot of really intelligent people out there with a lot of intelligent things to say and or being really funny, and a lot of people copycat what other people say. They see something funny somewhere and they want to go say it somewhere else, and that's cool too. I don't mind. Share the wealth, right? It's all funny. Right. It's all funny.
You are funny with Kate. When you're funny, you're funny. You know what I mean?
No, Kate is hilarious.
When she nails it, she nails it.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, what can I say, guys? I've had a bitter life.
That's how we get through this, though, me and Kate. We laugh about everything.
You have to laugh. You have to.
Yeah, it's literally all. Now I'm more careful because I'm like, oh, well, now I don't want to lose my account. But I never cared in the beginning. So all I did was sit on there and troll HRC and Barack Obama and just say the rudest things. Now I have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, you really do, because you send a tweet out and 10,000 people will see it in an hour. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of people.
Okay, so where do you guys want to start first? Q drops? You want to start with happenings, or is there a specific article we want to go to?
I mean, I think probably the Biden stuff is the most important of the day, wouldn't you say? Or that's probably more important than the censorship stuff.
Okay.
Although the censorship is real.
Hey,
and
it's kind of convoluted.
IET is probably the perfect person to talk to about censorship.
They hid those DOJ. When that DOJ stuff got dropped by Q and we went to make posts about it, Kate and I, we both talked to each other look, they were hiding the post on both of us. It wasn't getting out of the kill box. And eventually it moved and got out, but it was not getting out of the kill box for either of us. It was crazy.
Yeah, I had 0 likes, 0 retweets for the first 15 minutes. I had just tweeted something and it was getting likes and retweets. I retweeted myself 3 times because it was, I wanted to get it out, and then I went and I saw Alara's. It wasn't going anywhere.
Nope.
Yeah, they're sneaky. They're doing all kinds of stuff. It's so obvious to anyone that's actually paying attention. And they're gonna pay for that.
All right, so they are. Let me go to, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Jordan Sather's post because I think that's the best article out of all the articles, the most important one at least. So Jordan Sather post, the committee stated that they received records that Hunter Biden sent thousands of dollars to individuals who have either been involved in transactions consistent with possible human trafficking. Going to be a bad day for Team Biden, he says. And here's the article.
Yep. From Eastern European prostitution rings. Russia.
Bad.
Russia.
He was paying Russia. So it's funny, right? Everything they said POTUS did, they were doing.
They did.
Who was
Mm-hmm.
who was colluding with Russia? Oh, they did. Who sold 25% of our uranium to Russia? That was them, not us, right? Who did the quid pro quo with Ukraine? That was them. All these dirty deals. And then the one that hasn't come out is like the Chinese stuff. They're so secretive about it. Oh, no, we haven't accused Trump of anything about China. But by the way, we're getting all these backdoor deals and inserting communism across America and personally profiting off of it. So, yeah. And then now Biden's going to come out. And he's been dealing with money and prostitutes and human trafficking rings. And it's almost like QAnon and all those crazy conspiracy theorists were right again.
Yeah, almost.
Again.
The 87-page report.
Silent.
The 87-page report stated that Obama administration officials knew that Hunter Biden's position on the board of Burisma was problematic, and that it interfered in the efficient execution of policy with respect to Ukraine.
Absolutely. And then not only that, but George Kent knew about it. And Amos, I can't even pronounce his last name, like Hochstein. They both raised their concerns about it. And they even lodged those concerns with the FBI. Nothing. Like, they didn't do anything. So if the FBI knew about it, the Democrats in power then knew about it, including as high as Obama. And they did nothing. They must have been complicit, yes, right? So imagine these connections that are just going to open up across the board, ... all the way, so they catch all of them and almost everything. And I bet that's true as well.
The committee stated that they received records that Hunter Biden sent thousands of dollars to individuals who have either been involved in transactions consistent with possible human trafficking and association with the adult entertainment industry or potential association with prostitution. Boom.
Yeah, and like, who isn't doing that? That's like what everyone's doing, right? Super Bowl, same thing. Look at Robert Kraft. He just got off totally scot-free. Oh, just a misdemeanor. No big deal. Even though you were caught on camera purchasing prostitution at that little massage parlor, right? Him and then a bunch of other people that were not named for protecting their status. We all thought they were going to actually get handed to them when that happened. And then, of course, now nothing has happened and they're going to get a misdemeanor. That's crazy, right? So this is just everywhere. Harvey Weinstein, same thing. And now they're talking about Rob Reiner being a big one. Well,
he's certainly one of the loudest and most annoying. Those who scream the loudest. I like how Jordan pointed out, like, all of these crazy conspiracy theorists have been talking about human trafficking, but now, like, human trafficking is coming up in all of these big stories related to all of these high status people. So it's like, I hope that's open.
Well, and it's not necessarily the highest. And so people are kind of waiting for that, right? What's the card against us? Oh yeah, look at the scoreboard. Where's your scoreboard? Where's the big arrests? Right. And so we're all kind of waiting. But you're starting to see implications, actual factual documents. Like, this is legit. Hunter Biden was de facto dealing money with prostitutes and human trafficking rings. Scary. So, like, why is he not arrested?
Yeah,
right now?
Good question.
Like, why is he not arrested right now? We have the proof. The report came out. The investigation's already been done. Let's go. Charges filed. Unseal the indictment. Boom. Right?
Seriously.
Why not?
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It is frustrating. It really is. But I feel like we got to get past this election. I don't know why I think that. I just feel like if we started going and making these big arrests right now. But then again, Q dropped and said the next 2 weeks are going to be like big booms. So how big are those booms going to be? You know what I mean? Like, already it's crazy. The list of what's happening, it's nuts. So.
Well, we still don't have voter fraud stuff coming out. I mean, we have a little bit, a couple of articles. I shouldn't say a couple. There's actually a lot of articles that are coming out. New Hampshire, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nevada, a bunch of voter rolls that are full of dead people, double voters. You got Tom Fitton releasing stuff. So you got to imagine that information has to come out. Q said basically this rest of this post is intentionally left blank, and he details out how they have proof that there was cheating in Senate elections in the 2018, 2016, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to imagine that that's coming out soon. Further reason and justification of using a voter ID executive order. This is all, once again, speculation. So, I mean, you got to figure that. And then Haiti, right? So, which is really interesting that we have this Supreme Court justice nomination coming up, and potential Justice Amy, and what she has those Haitian children, right? Everyone's questioning it. Oh, she's got 2 Haitian kids. That must mean she's like Laura Silsby. She's been kidnapping Haitians, except that she adopted them legally and literally shows them off as part of her family. So maybe she's actually one of those that knew and she adopted them to save them.
Yep.
Right.
And so this is one of the reasons you're going to see how it eventually connects to Haiti coming out. And then once Haiti comes out, the black vote for Democrats is done.
It's done.
Forever.
Yep.
Forever. There will not be a single black person unless, of course, they're just like the super far lefty communist anarchists who are going to be in support of that. Absolutely not. And we don't even need to talk about it. Like, we just know, right? Walnut sauce. Hello. It's bad. It's really bad. What did Epstein say? Epstein said that he didn't want to have any African. No, I think he said black sex slaves. He didn't want any.
Oh,
so
wow,
that's racist. First of all,
I'm sure they're really sad about that too.
No, I know, right?
Yeah, so they're really bummed.
That really only leaves one option for their purpose with them, and so that's what makes me sick. And so, yeah, if that actually ever comes out,
I hadn't even. Oh.
Yep. So if that truth ever comes out, seriously though, there won't be a single other black person that ever votes for a Democrat again. Not one.
Yeah, they're going to be mad when they figure it out, when they all figure it out, and it's coming.
Yep, it is.
How they
is. We all know about it.
I actually just rewatched the roast when Trump roasted Hillary. I watched that again when he was like, some people say it takes a village, and that's why Hillary has taken a couple of them in Haiti.
Yes. Oh my God.
So
just
savage.
Savage to her face and in front of all of them at the White House. Was it the correspondence, or was it just the
right?
It was the correspondence.
Yeah, I still can't believe he said that. It's true though. I see it happening, you guys. Pretty soon these people are not going to be able to walk down the street. It's
No.
I see it coming.
I'm totally with you there. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, maybe that stuff waits until after. And a lot of these things, I think, referring back to like corporate constitution, like when that's possible, I'm pretty sure we're going to have 2/3 Congress. We're going to have a super majority in order to make some of these things happen. Either that, or we're going to have Democrat votes, in our pocket, because we're going to have to pretty much undo all of the things that they've done to set this up. And that's legally. So,
do you guys want to go over any of the Department of Justice, the proposed Section 230 legislation? Okay.
Yeah.
I can bring it up on the screen, although it's going to be too small probably for you guys to. Let me see here. All right. So, so this got dropped today in a Q drop, and this is what we were referring to when we said we tried to post this on Twitter and they were hiding it. So today, on behalf of the Trump administration, the Department of Justice sent draft legislation to Congress to reform Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. The draft legislative text implements reforms that the Department of Justice deemed necessary in the June recommendations that follows a year-long review of the outdated statute. The legislation also executes President Trump's directive from the executive order on preventing online censorship. So this is like a huge win for us. And it's funny because you saw Twitter panic after this. So they removed John Solomon's account. They removed another account, and then all of a sudden they started putting out tweets. Did you guys see that? They started putting out tweets trying to backpedal what they were doing. Oh, we made a mistake. Oh, we've done this, and it's going to be a delay till you can see someone's timeline. They started putting out all this damage control tweets. It was hilarious, really. To us, it's funny. But yeah.
Well, Code Monkey was like, no, this is dangerous. Because then as soon as they implement this and they change it, then they'll be able to further control and they determine what's neutrality. And so that's an interesting point. And I'm not exactly sure this is as clear cut as everyone thinks it is. And maybe this is where the internet Bill of Rights comes in.
Yeah.
We need that.
I was gonna say
it's terrible. They're
right.
told this is election interference, you guys, straight up. Like, it's, I mean, the suppression that they do to us is nuts. And not just us. Like, it's accounts that are very relevant and that their voices, I mean, look what they did to Sidney Powell.
Mm-hmm.
And Lynn Wood.
Yeah, and Lynn Wood. Yep. I mean, come on.
They've messed with Trump's account, and they've messed with
anybody
Candace
that Trump
Owens.
retweets,
Gets
their account goes down.
Yeah, except for a couple, we won't name them.
Anybody that gets Q plus just gets snagged. Almost everybody. You can count on it. As soon as they get Q plus, gone.
Unless you're one of my favorite accounts that recently got Q plus and is still alive. But we won't mention her name. She's seriously one of the best, though. And everybody knows who she is. I know who you're talking about. You just have to listen to her. And then you know when you hear her that it's her.
It's all about the laugh.
It is. And it's great. It's infectious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's awesome. Okay, so there's one more paragraph on this, just so the full scope of this. Okay. For too long, Section 230 has provided a shield for online platforms to operate with impunity, said Attorney General William Barr. Ensuring that the internet is a safe but also vibrant, open, and competitive environment is vitally important to America. We therefore urge Congress to make the necessary reforms to Section 230 and begin to hold online platforms accountable, both when they unlawfully censor speech and when they knowingly facilitate criminal activity online.
The word
CP.
knowingly.
Yeah, knowingly. Yeah. I mean, how many times, this is what frustrated us, like, to no end, seeing them, like, the Patriot accounts that got taken down and then they would, like, respawn or whatever, were down in minutes, okay? Yet you had accounts with child P on it that people were reporting like crazy, sit up there for days. And their excuse was, we don't have the manpower right now, especially with COVID. We don't have, enough humans. But, like, literally IET would be up for like a couple hours and get taken down. So they obviously did have the manpower.
No, they seriously have people going around and searching, not just for me, but for everybody that is, a big voice in this movement. And you got people like Poker Politics. You got people, what is his name? Alex Kaplan, Mike Rothschild, writer for the Daily Beast, Will Sommer, and then all of their little minions. And they just go around mass reporting people. And that's all they do all day. Like, imagine being so pathetic.
Exactly. I feel like writing to that poker dude and being like, dude, can I get you, like, a girlfriend or something?
Right.
He's
you need a date, buddy?
He reminds me. He's probably that dude in the picture, that little Antifa scrawny looking dude with the communist cake right in front of him with the sickle on it and the hammer. That's him, right? So he's sitting at home typing on his computer. I hate these Q guys. They're such losers. They're gonna ruin my good time. There's no pedophilia.
And the media is coming at us so hard lately. Like, at first they didn't even want to talk about Q, and now they're just writing hit piece after hit piece after hit piece about us. It's like
you don't believe in Q, yet you won't ever shut up about it.
You won't shut up about it.
And they'll never read the drops. It's so clear.
Ever.
They have no clue what Q has ever said.
Well, they wrote articles today using Frederick Brennan. The old owner of 8chan Hot Wheels is, his little nickname, right?
Yep.
And they call him Hot Wheels. It's mean. All right, he's in a wheelchair. Shouldn't make fun of people in wheelchairs. But he's a douchebag, so screw that guy.
Equal
he's
opportunity.
Hot Wheels. He's Hot Wheels, all right?
Douche canoe. Yeah. Fair game.
I'm pretty sure I saw him in a picture or in a video, like, training or giving advice to what looks like Antifa rioters. They were like, I don't know, it was like pre-gaming or something. There was not actual riots going on right there, but they were just like talking about what you should do. And there was a guy in a wheelchair whose outline looked very familiar, his silhouette, right, to Mr. Brennan. And it's like, is that dude there? And I'm pretty sure someone else posted a picture of Linda Sarsour. It looked like Linda Sarsour.
Sure did.
At the Kentucky Louisville or Louisville, Kentucky riots for Breonna Taylor. Like,
right. Well, I mean, we
so
saw videos of what's her face, Ilhan Omar, at the Black Lives Matter marches, months ago. But yeah, what are you doing there?
Yeah, what are you doing there? So they're serious. Like, this is all out, right? And that's why this is real. It's existential for sure. Because what are they going to do? Are they going to fold? She'll be like, all right, you beat me. All right, good game. We'll do it again next time. No. Existential. So this is it, right? It's all in or do or die, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I imagine they're going to bring some heat in the next 44, 43, 42. I don't know how many days it is now.
42, I think. 41.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Yeah. It's going to get interesting. It already is interesting every day.
But what else do they have?
I mean,
what else do they have? 41 days, 38 minutes, 50 seconds.
What are you going to throw at us? We're ready.
Right off a CAG. There was a CAG news.
Oh,
QAGG.
nice.
I don't know how to say that. Quag. CAG.
Quag.
It's the quag.
It seems like they're going for the asteroid thing now. They're going for the asteroid thing.
They're seriously not, like, and there was an article written, oh, Jupiter's like throwing them at us. They're like aiming them at us. Like, what? Jupiter does not aim asteroids at Earth. What?
Jupiter's got a slingshot, bro.
Well, did you guys see the space station tweet the other day? I tried to. I'm so shadow banned that my tweets don't go anywhere. But the space station tweeted out something about them having to get the Soyuz and leave because some sort of unknown space debris was headed towards the space station. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? Unknown space. If the space station has to move out of the way, that's kind of a problem, right?
Yeah, because that means it's big.
And then like 30 minutes later, the space station was like, no, everything's fine. We've got it under control. We're back in. I'm like, so I don't know. Does it tie in with the whole asteroid themed articles lately? And I don't know what's going on up there, but.
Well, there's a reason there's a Space Force. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
They don't just spend billions of dollars for nothing.
No.
Well, they had just came out and said the other day that the space has already been weaponized. They've already weaponized space, so that's why we need it. This is
directed energy weapons, and like we were talking about that in 2018 when they were having all the. Yeah, but seriously, and they were burning down forest fire. Houses would just be completely burned to the ground, and then trees within 10 feet, completely surrounding the homes, untouched. Oh, as the trees have moisture.
Right.
Did you see the house?
Seriously.
It's obliterated. Right. It's nothing.
I love when people say that. They're like, oh, trees have moisture. I'm like, oh, that's good news for every forest fire we've ever heard of, because I guess that's just clearing out all the dead shit. So that's nothing to worry about. Trees can't catch fire.
Oh my gosh. People's cognitive dissonance has got to be rising.
No,
just
seriously.
even thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
But so directed energy weapons, you got to wonder. They're saying, oh yeah, China has these, Russia has these. We have these, right?
We do
like
too.
We
then.
do.
Yeah, of course.
We have these, right? So I wonder how they're being used for our operations, and I'm sure some of this stuff will never come out, just because for national security purposes.
Yeah, but do you think it's China using their directed energy weapons in conjunction with our deep state to do these fires? Like Pelosi and Newsom or whatever, or do you think? I don't think it's us. I think we have control of that.
No.
I think it's China working in conjunction with our deep state that's doing the fires like that. Right.
Right. And it's a tough thing to grapple with, right? Because you got to then think, all right, if patriots are in control, then they're letting these fires happen.
Right.
And then people's homes are being burned down and people's businesses and their properties. And this is serious. They're saying people are dying, getting trapped in these forests, wherever they are, and the fire surrounds them. Who knows? But at the same time, it also kind of plays into justification for the National Guard being deployed and put out everywhere, and destroying of bad things like underground tunnels. And we see all these earthquakes that don't match necessarily the same frequencies that other earthquakes do. And so then we speculate that there are underground wars going on and deep underground military bases that are being blown up, tunnels taken out. And we've even said as much in articles recently, like, oh, the Marines and the military were planning to go do subterranean warfare, right? So
DARPA said that in a tweet.
we're going to go fight underground. So that's exactly where they are. And so you're seeing some of these things, and it's just crazy that I don't know. It's how do you know what's real and what's not? There's so many ways that you can say this is true, this is not true. And so it leaves a lot of ambiguity. And maybe that's the purpose. And maybe that's how people wake up, is that cognitive dissonance that just doesn't make sense, everything that they're doing. Or there's another explanation that also makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so what's okay, never mind. Do you guys want to go ahead?
No, I was just going to say, as far as the smoke goes, I don't, well, I mean, obviously we're in Arizona, but it seems like the smoke kind of cleared up pretty quickly.
Good point.
From pictures that I'm seeing in the Pacific Northwest and even like down by us, because it was heavy even down here within, days of all of those fires. And now it's like, where'd it go? It's still a little smoggy here, but nothing like what it was.
I haven't seen chemtrails really either. And I live in a real chemtrail area.
Well, so that's funny you said that. I haven't seen any in months. And then just the other day I was driving to work and there was like 5. And I was like, well, what the heck? What are they doing? Is that us? Is that them? Are they creating? I have no idea. And so you really struggle just trying to figure out how patriots are in control and then have some of these things still be happening. And
exactly.
But every time that we think, oh, this is it, Trump's turning against us, or look, he's going to be pro-vaccine, and all of a sudden he comes around and he does something that's like, oh my God, how did we not see that coming? Right. Like the 5D chess, and it's always just a genius move. So I've just at this point, like, all right, I trust Trump. Let's see what happens. It's not saying that it's blind trust, but you got to have some idea that they are actually in complete control, and there actually is nothing that can stop what's coming.
Right.
Yes. I see that.
So
what else?
IET, you got any predictions for 2021?
Oh man, I don't even know. I can trying to figure out what's going to happen on election day. 2021. I mean, let's see. Assuming that Trump wins the election and we get a super majority in Congress, I say there's no impediment to signing laws, amending Constitution, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it'll just be like that time when Trump came in and did all those anti-regulation stuff, and he just like had a stack that was so large. It'll just be like, all right, here we go. You ready? We're about to have some winning like you've never seen winning before, and just fires them off. And I have no idea what that could even look like. Unlocking secret, technology, patented stuff that we had never seen before. Lots of interesting theories on Tesla towers going up recently and how that's going to play a role.
Free energy.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Earth is just basically one giant free energy machine. It being magnetic and rotating with an electromagnetic field, trapping heat. That's essentially what a free energy machine, I believe it is. So, and Tesla figured it out, right? And John Trump got to analyze all of that work. And so it's not out of the realm of possibility, but to flat out say that's definitely going to happen, it's just tough, So we hope we can see a lot more things happening for us. And I wonder, how long is it going to take people to snap out of what just happened? If the election happens and Trump wins and it's as hectic and chaotic as they say it's going to be, I imagine a lot of people will not openly accept. And 4 to 6%, even 10%, we're still talking like 12, 18 million, 30 million people. That's a lot of people that are not going to be happy about this. And so what do you do about that? And how long does that take to calm everyone down? And, what do you do about those that will not calm down? There's a lot of just, I have no idea.
Yeah.
How could you be mad? Look, we literally set you free. Now put me back.
Right? Well, people do love to fall in love, or do tend to fall in love with their captors. That's a real thing.
You do go through
freedom is scary.
When you first wake up, you do go through a period of like fear. I went through that. Like I was tripping for a while. It took me a minute to come to terms with all the things I had learned. It did. So we have to remember sometimes that newly awakened people are going to go through that same thing, and it's going to take them some time to like acclimate to the new knowledge and information.
What's that like? It's the meme of emojis that shows basically your red pill awakening, and it's first you're like. you're like, what the heck? And then you're kind of really sad. And
then you
you're
throw
really,
up.
Yeah.
and then you throw up. And then you're really mad. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah,
Sunglasses.
Here we go.
Sunglasses.
Boom, baby. Boom.
Yep.
So I imagine people probably follow some of that. And yeah, we'll be needed because we know, and it's like tough because we have to go through the awakening twice. We're doing it. We did it for ourselves. And now we have to painfully wait out of our control for others to do the same. And it's only fair. It's not their fault that they're brainwashed.
Right.
They did a really good job. They are in every nook and cranny of planet Earth, infiltrated every system, media, movies, entertainment, yada, yada, yada. So it's real. The brainwashing is real, and you got to break that. And of course, that requires a great deal of self-reflection and thought. And a lot of people are so, mind numb that they just want to be entertained. They're not willing to actually have that conversation in their own mind.
Or they're so stressed out and busy from the Matrix that they don't have the time to sit there and do the research they need to do to start to figure anything out. Really, that seems
Joe Sixpack does not want to research pizza fence.
No,
when he gets off work at 6 o'clock, he wants to take off his boots.
Right.
Grab his
six-pack of beer,
and watch baseball.
He does not want to go through CDC numbers to check and make sure he's not being conned by the news.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Let me check these. Let's see if they've got anything new on the CDC website today, which, by the way, they keep changing.
Our crazy asses definitely do that. We don't miss a thing.
Well, but like once upon a time, I was more like Joe Sixpack.
Right.
Keg stand Kate, if you will.
Oh my God. I've definitely been there.
But the fact that it's laughable to me. So, yes, these people are really far gone, but once upon a time, so were we.
Mm-hmm. We were too. And everybody wakes up in their own time and they have their own path, and you can't force, you can't push, but if it becomes their idea, it's so much easier for them to wake up. All you got to do is provide consistency. And if you're consistent and not, if you don't attack them, they tend to be more responsive. This is what I found, at least when trying to talk to people who have a different mindset. You just kind of like find out where they're at and then just ask them some questions. And when they give you the answer, all of a sudden they're like, wait a second. But if you just tell somebody, listen, the world is run by pedophiles. And
it doesn't work out. Yeah.
They're like,
that's so intriguing.
Like, you gotta be shitting me. You're one of those crazy. So it really soft stuff, really. And some people you can go hardcore with right away, but they've already kind of woken up. And like you said, we're asking the right questions. At least we're familiar that they were being lied to, and then you can really show those people the light. But there's various degrees of how embedded in their own cocoon they've made themselves. This is my little safe space, my reality that I've made, and they've justified the way it is, and it makes sense to them, and they're happy. So, and they took them a long time, because believe me, they're so emotional that they just want to find a way to not be that emotional. So they're just like, I'm gonna hide in here.
Yeah, and that's what they want.
Some people are gonna miss
sense to them.
Yeah, but some people are going to sincerely miss complaining. Truthfully, it's so ingrained in people, like, oh, my life, blah blah blah. Suddenly, like even just free energy, even just declassifying free energy is going to change the world more than we can ever even imagine. And people are not going to know what to do with themselves. It's like Trump said, "You're going to say to me, no more winning. We can't take it anymore. It's too much."
So think about that. What would have to happen, knowing what you know now? And even knowing what you knew then, what would have to happen for you to actually say, okay, seriously, no more winning?
And if they decloak the ships, I'll be stoked. That'll be like, that's it right there.
I don't think he was bluffing. I don't think he was underselling that or overselling that. I think he was serious. And so, one can only fathom and use your imagination as to where that goes and how far.
Hey, I just want to ask, Fearless just asked a question, and I'm curious about this too. Why are Dems all of a sudden for voting in person? Like, what switched?
And they're setting us up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what they realized is a lot of so first of all, you got all of the Director of National Intelligence has all intelligence agencies overseeing the election. So we're spying on our own stuff, right? You bet you we used the proper authorities and got all the proof that we needed to get the courts to approve all of it. Anyway, so we got that going. The Dems, we also, I think, have control of the United States Postal Service. They have a patent for blockchain voting purchased back in February. I don't know if we're actually going to use that this time around or not, and we may, but I think they realize that the time is running out. And so people are so scared because of coronavirus that they're just waiting for mail-in ballot votes. And if Trump wins by the margin we think he's going to win by, they're just trying to get as many people to vote now before the information comes out. That's why they're paying for all these voters in Florida to get out of prison and pay off all their stuff. They need as many votes because the margin between the two is going to be that big. It won't even matter. What are you going to say? Oh, yeah, we have 1.5 million missing ballots out of each and every state. They're stuck in the mail somewhere. Like, it's just not, It's not possible. So I think they see that. I think they're also kind of playing, they kind of got trapped into thinking that, oh, masks are okay to go vote in. And when Trump started wearing the mask, it was like, oh, yeah, masks work. So you can go vote in person now. And so that kind of scared. It's really just a cat and mouse game back and forth. And the Democrats just flip-flop their position. I think a lot of the times just to be contradictory to Trump, not necessarily because they actually have a reason. They just want to be like, not Trump.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll do mail-in. Maybe it'll be you'll get that special Q code that matches you with a blockchain online voting system, and then they can't do anything about that. And maybe they realize that, so they want people to vote right now. I mean, once again, speculating, I don't actually know. But how do you rationalize any of it? So you just try to think about all the possibilities and which ones make the most sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So,
Totally.
I mean, we could be wrong, right? Been wrong before, tons of times.
Yeah, but
Every
that's
time we thought it
humbling.
was.
It's part of the process.
No, it totally is. Every time we thought it was like actually going to happen, like the big arrests, we were totally wrong.
Day.
Right?
Today is the day. Oh man, I
storm
made
is here.
A countdown.
Yeah.
Oh my
have
God.
my popcorn, guys. It's happening.
It's happening.
Well, see, for me, I'm gonna rationalize that and saying it's happening because it's been happening.
Right?
Like
Truth.
this has seriously been just playing out, and we are in complete control of this scenario. And you can see that based on some of these moves and advances that we're doing and the information that's coming out to the public. Like we're totally rocking this thing, I think. And it's been happening. So when you see a major thing come out and it goes, oh yeah, it's happening. Well, of course it is. Cause look, that's proof right there. Like Bill Clinton just got busted, having private dinner with Ghislaine Maxwell. That was a report that just came out. And so like, what was he doing with her? Everyone now knows Ghislaine Maxwell was a madam, and she was a rapist, and she was, dealing in kids and trafficking them. And here we have a former president who's now on seen on the flight logs of Lolita Express, and he's having private dinners.
Yeah.
Too many to count. I mean, I want to see the real list, right? So we only just got that one pilot's list. There's so many other pilots, including maybe even a submarine. How many times did he go there via submarine? Right? Who knows, right? Could
They're
be countless
tracking
number of
submarines
times.
between all those islands. Biden owns all that property on Water Island. I'm telling you,
Yep.
this thing is even
yeah.
deeper than we think. This is all of them, and they're all involved, and they got submarines. And this
No, go
stuff
look it
goes
up.
Deep. Yeah.
The Puerto Rican Trench. So it runs from all the Virgin Islands, right north of Puerto Rico, right north of Haiti, right all the way up to Cuba. And it's almost like a little secret channel that they can go one by one by one all the way down to those islands down there. And then you look at who owns those islands, and you can only speculate. Like, what are they doing? Why is there this convenient thing? Why do they have a submarine license? Why do they have submarine ports? Like, what is going on here? Why does the Disney ships and some of these major yachts have these submersible submarines that are super advanced technology? Like, wow, you sure did go out of your way to get that super fancy device. Why?
Right? Like the submarine ride's cool at Disneyland and everything, but that's kind of where it ends for most people. Like most people don't go out and buy themselves a super advanced submarine and keep it on hand, and all their buddies too, and buy their own island.
I wonder how much that costs.
Right.
How much does that cost? Seriously, like $10 million, $20 million for a submarine? I have no idea. I'm just throwing out numbers, but It's not cheap, that's for
Right.
sure. It's not a drop in the hat. So, but yeah, look that up. Puerto Rican Trench. It's right there. And I imagine they do a lot of submarining through there. So anyway.
Say
Yeah, it's just-
$6.5 million for a submarine. You're pretty spot on.
Oh, I said 10 to 20. Yeah.
Oh, I don't
6.5.
remember what you said. I thought you said 5 or 6.
No. But
The only submarine I'm buying is a $5 foot long, and actually I'm not buying that because Subway is disgusting. It's the worst food ever.
I won't eat
yeah,
that.
Jared Fogle.
I won't
You gotta
eat it.
wonder
That's
what
not
their meat's
food.
made out of.
Yeah, that's not food.
The fact,
No.
the fact that Subway, there are more Subways than there are McDonald's, and the fact that their produce, their food, all comes from a single source. So the fact that it's getting shipped all over the country, but
Right.
like somehow the tomatoes are still orange and like will sit there for another like 12
Right.
days and still stay orange ain't right.
So what is
Well, think
McDonald's? I know you guys are tracking me on this. Like, what is it really? Like,
Oh, listen, there's no way I'm speculating on that one. But we all know
knows?
the theories on it. We all know the
Mhm.
theories on it. I will say this. The reason food decays, like meat rots and produce grows fungus and et cetera, even out in the fields, if you want to grow organic, the insects eat it or the animals eat it. And so
Right.
they put this stuff on there so that they won't. So when you see a piece of food that has not disintegrated or been eaten or decomposed in any kind of way, that means the smallest single cellular organisms, even like bacteria and then multicellular fungi, have no interest in eating it. They're smarter than we are, right? Like, no, I'm not eating that. Look at margarine. Margarine's not even food. They totally changed the chemical structure, and it's essentially plastic is what it is, and they made it taste like butter.
Mm-hmm.
Truth.
Franken
Well, that's
food.
why
Yeah.
that's why they don't eat it. That's why the bacteria, and they won't eat that stuff because it's not real. They don't get there's no energy out of it. It's not like humans. See, they actually eat for the pure purpose of energy and survival. Humans eat for pleasure. There's a big difference.
Mhm.
What's up with all the Queen's horses dying all of a sudden? Did you guys see that article? All of a
No.
sudden, the Queen's
Why not?
horses are all dying off. Why is
I
that?
didn't see that.
That
I mean,
seems like
I had no
bombs.
idea. I
heard-
saw the shamu or the whale stuff.
What's up with the whale
All the
stuff?
whales. Well, you got to wonder, all these animals dying. You got to think that's got to be comms. Maybe not.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
they use dogs for comms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they were talking about earlier, killer whales going after sharks and eating their intestines and their testicles. That's really weird. But what is that? The hunters,
Like sea life chupacabra.
yeah, but like hunters becoming the hunted. So
Right.
like the sharks getting eaten by, shamu,
Yeah.
orca whales.
Yeah. That sounds about right. It could definitely be.
So I
comms.
mean, it could be, right? Who knows if it actually is? We'll find out maybe.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Well, guys,
Yeah.
we have gone for an hour and 45 minutes.
Right. So
Is
That's
that
nuts.
long?
Should
Yeah. Well,
I can
was
keep
there
going.
anything else? I know.
I could seriously keep going.
I know. We need to have you back. That's what we need to do.
Right.
You should. I'm honestly surprised at this point you don't have your own podcast or something. I mean, everybody would just love that.
This is gonna need a
I
part
just don't
two.
have the time. I don't have
I
the
know.
time.
I know.
I'd say-
I don't
I'll
even
tell
know how
you
you
what,
have
though.
the time anyway.
I'll probably come on more people's shows. I just get nervous about it because you want to make sure you go on a show with somebody that's not going to misrepresent you.
Right.
Mhm.
And then you also want to be comfortable with people. And so I've done a couple of, I guess this is my second interview. I think the other one I did with True Reporting, and that was great too. I actually really enjoyed doing that one.
Totally.
But maybe I'll do some more.
This has been
You
awesome
should, man.
having you on. We've
Well,
had
hey-
a great talk. We didn't get to cover as much as we wanted, but we're having such a great talk and such great questions that
Yeah, we covered so much that I know that people are really excited to hear, and like you are a wealth of information.
yeah.
Well, you got 5 more minutes. We can talk a little bit about these Q posts.
Oh yeah. Let's go over
Okay.
the Q post
I'll pull up
really
Q
quick.
posts.
All right, so I got them written down right here. We got shown the Fox News report about crimes against humanity in reference to Hillary Clinton and her foundation and the crime against children meme. We got political spying, less than 1%. We got the executive order being talked about. So we're going to seize all their assets. And, those we were taught to trust the most, bigger than you can imagine. These people are sick. And then we get to the part where Q
Ooh.
talks about who controls, wields significant influence, re the Clinton D party. And he put a couple emails in there.
Which drop
and
is
they were
that?
to who?
So I can pull it up on the screen for the peeps.
I don't know. I just have it written down in
Oh.
one of my little notes. It was, I think, the second or third one ago. It was a recent one.
Oh, okay, right here. I see it. It's 4750.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so the WikiLeaks email IDs that he dropped were emails to and from George Soros and Hillary, or people in relation to Hillary. And then it talks about who controls and wields significant influence over Hussein and the D party. And that was in reference to Prince Al-Walid bin Talal. Now, fun fact, he owned the top floor of Mandalay Bay. And of course, we have in a week, that will be the anniversary of that
Las
the Las
Vegas
Vegas
shooting.
massacre shooting, right? So it's kind of significant this up right now.
Well, and the theory was that bin Salman was staying there, and that was actually intended to be a hit on his life, and that they got him out. So that was just a theory, but I think it's an interesting one.
Well, I'm sure there was more than that. I think he was actually meeting Trump there at the, if I remember the Q post correctly.
But that was after they intercepted the devices of these people. Remember, that was a really important drop that we got, was that they are basically alluding that all of these iPhones, iPads, computers that they were getting that were supposed to be encrypted were intercepted, and that they were replaced by the white hats with their own devices, so that they were able to spy on these people and find out, I think, in advance what these people were planning on doing. And so he
seriously has scapegoated so many assassination attempts, so many.
Yeah.
And you got to know they have so much trickery. Who knows?
Yep.
But
divine protection totally. Too.
Right. And they talked about, Hussein getting his Harvard scholarships and his school paid for by bin Talal, and et cetera, et cetera. So we assume that maybe the Saudis and their princes, and specifically bin Talal, was controlling Hussein. We assume that George Soros is in control of the Clintons and their D side of the party. And you can kind of see some different factions in the Democrat Party as well. You have like the Bernies and the Elizabeth Warrens and the AOCs, and then you have, your old school Democrats like your Feinsteins, your Schumers, et cetera, et cetera. And they're kind of butt heads as well. It's almost like they're fighting for who's going to get to have the most money, all that U.S. has to offer as far as their economy and their population, et cetera, their resources. But so I kind of looked at that drop, and all together combined, like it looks to me like, and this is my opinion, that Soros and bin Talal and some of these other deep state players that were part of the families, their jobs were to come in and to destabilize. So they use their media and their political assets to bring about, quote unquote, democracy to these countries and take them over essentially and enslave their citizens into oppression. But like, how many countries have they seriously done this to? Is it like the objective then to establish central banks, corporate constitutions like ours, like the Act of 1871 and 1913 and the Depression in 33 and all these things they added to us? Like, if so, then there's your connection right there to the Rothschilds, right? In the year 2000, there were 7 countries without a Rothschild owned or controlled central bank. So like, right, Afghanistan, Iraq, Sudan, Libya, Cuba, North Korea, and Iran. And where have we been in the last 20 years of wars in the Middle East that Trump's getting out of and signing peace deals in? So these people, they come in, right? And they send their little terrorist groups. They're all kind of the same. They all train together: ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Antifa, in the United States. And then you got the Taliban and Hezbollah, and there's a whole bunch of them. And they're all going in, and they're basically wrecking havoc, and they're starting wars, and they're destroying things. And that's their objective. And they want to create this destabilization of that area. And what do you do after that, right? All these people, they're either going to decide, well, I guess we want to change things. So then the U.S. Army comes in, and we're like, hey, we're going to save the day. And we're being used as a proxy for other people's bidding. And we have our own deep state factions in the military and in the government, and they go in and help destroy, each other. And we're actually maybe even helping them out, funding them, giving them weapons. And as these places and these countries go completely destroyed and bankrupt, then they implement the central bank, and they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to charge you interest for the debt you acquired, and we're going to put off all that debt towards the citizens. And boom, 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 boom. So after 2003, there were the only central bank or the non-central bank companies were Sudan, Libya, Cuba, North Korea, and Iran. And then we were fighting with Iran, and then we were fighting with North Korea. Remember, they wanted to blow us up, and then in Libya, we got Gaddafi. We went in there, we got him good. Remember Hillary said we stabbed that dude. So that guy was actually against the petrodollar, and he had all this gold.
Yeah.
Remember, gold does what? It ends the Fed.
Yep.
So in their case, it's their central bank. If he has the gold, then they can't put in any type of monetary control or system in their country. Go in, we remove that guy. Same thing with Saddam Hussein. Boom, move that guy out of there. We'll make him out to look like a giant terrorist and get the support of the American people for the reasons as justification for being over there. America, hoorah, we're going to give you some democracy. And lo and behold, boom. Now you got the New World Order set up and their propaganda machine and the media in there to brainwash their citizens, rinse and repeat.
Right. Spot on, dude. That's good info. Yep.
I mean, it's my opinion. It looks like it, at least.
Yeah.
So you got all these UAE and Bahrain, you got North Korea, South Korea, you got all these peace deals that are going on in the Middle East right now, and these countries that were perpetually at war for decades. And really, it was just people creating enemies on both sides and then making them fight each other over bullshit.
And nobody wants to talk about the peace deals in the mainstream media. It's amazing how all this is going on, and it's like crickets.
And he's still a
Nobody wants to
warmonger,
talk
and they're
about
like, "This is life and death. If we vote him in, then we're all gonna die." Like that's what they were saying last time. Like, why would he wait for his second term to kill us all? Like,
dude,
makes no sense.
It's crazy.
Planet
so Trump,
crazy.
I mean, you've got to understand he's probably saving some of these big booms for right now. Because the average person can only hold on to information in their mind for about 15 to 30 days, and then they're distracted by something else. They'll forget about it.
I can't even do that.
You gotta imagine that the information that we want people to be most in their mind when they're voting is gonna happen in October.
True.
Yeah.
It has to.
True.
So hence Red October. It's gonna be some big booms. I mean, we've had some setup this week for sure. And last week.
It's not even over yet, dude. We still have 2 more days left in this week.
I mean, I've been doing this since the beginning, obviously, but like I can barely keep up.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. I have no idea.
Well, you do an awesome job, and we miss you on Twitter. You are on Instagram though now. What's your Instagram handle? I know I've got the link below.
Yeah, it's linked in the description.
Yeah, real_inevitable_ET. I post there sometimes.
What about your Parler?
Yeah, Parler is just inevitable ET, no underscore.
Okay. Thank you, because I wasn't able to link that in the description, so I'm gonna need to get it. I wasn't able to copy it and get it in there, so I need to do that. So. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where people can find you right now. And
no
other
worries,
than
no
that,
worries.
if people find some really great threads or some good info, just pretend it's IET and just keep retweeting when you come.
Oh my God, no, don't do
stuff.
that. No, don't do that.
No. I mean.
Oh, if they ever find me in camo.
Since you're not going to announce it because you don't want to get taken down, just treat every account that you come across that has good information as if it's IET. Because obviously, people, once you get familiar with some of these anons, you gravitate more towards their information. But we really do need to be just following the information and boosting up all of those accounts, because you never know, it could be IET that you're boosting.
You don't know. You may be.
Yeah. Yep.
You may be. I'll for sure be on there. I'll make another one and another one and another one. I can seriously do this all day. There's a system, and if they can find me and prove that
it's you.
Yeah, but I mean, with the human interaction now and it not going through algorithm, they actually have files and forms they fill out that get a human to actually look and make the assessment, and so it's really tough to get past that.
No more pictures of Botus, which is
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Mr. Bobo. He's such a beast.
You guys, I have just a couple of announcements before we close
please.
the show,
Sorry.
if that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep talking otherwise.
No, you're all good. You're doing awesome. Dropping good information to everybody. All right. Just want to let everybody know next week Carly Q will be on with us. Same day, same time, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's
so good.
awesome. I
love Carly.
Yeah. The comedy, we need the comedy. Like,
she's hilarious.
Yes. We need hilarious people because this stuff's so dark.
It is. It's
her
so
laugh,
frustrating.
right? Just I'll be having the
infectious.
worst day sometimes, and I'll just come across one of her cackling tweets, and I'm like, it's all gonna be all right. It's okay, you know.
She definitely figured out how to make the best content. She's got some of the best content. Every time I go browse her page, it's like every time I'm like, all right, I gotta retweet this. I gotta hop in and a comment on there. Man, this is great information.
She's on it.
She nails it. She's on it. How does she she seriously?
I don't know.
She must record all of the news channels and stations and has them on DVR and goes back and watches.
I don't know how she does that. I really don't know how she does that. All day.
I mean,
all day.
Q totally said hello, Carly. It was
I
awesome.
know. That was
She
so
got
cool.
super cute.
Yeah.
It was
mega
so
cute.
awesome.
I know.
I was excited for her. I was so excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun
Anyway.
having her on.
So next
Any
week we
other
have
questions?
Carly Q, and then we have. Do we have Deanna on next?
Diana, is it Deanna or Diana Lorraine?
Deanna Lorraine.
Deanna
Deanna.
Lorraine?
D-E.
Deanne?
D-E.
Deanne. Deanne Lorraine.
Yeah, we better get that
She
right.
ran against Nancy Pelosi. We will by the time. We've got 2 weeks to learn how to pronounce her name. So.
We know who she is for
Yeah.
sure. I know who she is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That'll be awesome.
We're going to wish her the best of luck. Got to kick her butt. Nancy Pelosi is seriously not going to be reelected. No way. We got to kick her out. I don't think is she up actually? Yeah, she is. Yeah, so she's going to be out for sure.
There's no way she's going to get reaelected.
Yep.
People
Absolutely
are too hip
not.
to what's going on. Okay, just a couple more announcements, you guys. So Space Force News Sunday nights on my channel, 1 Foot in 5D, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. It won't be Foil this week. It will be Tyler co-hosting with me from Journey to Truth. So that will be interesting. I think we are going to do Conspiracy Couch tomorrow night on my channel. But I believe Kalojiro from Where We Go When We Go All will be filling in as my co-host instead of Foil because she's out of town. So that'll be kind of in the spirit of Art Bell, that show, and it's a call-in show. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to support us, we have a PayPal me link for Pink Patriot Podcast that's in the description below. And then Kate has her own links for her channel. And she goes live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I believe that is it for our announcements.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
IET, anything else you want to throw in here before we scoot? Anything you want to drop? Anywhere people can find you?
You're going to do 5 more hours of this and then we'll be good.
This has been
We
fun.
can
You just need
seriously
to come
go all
on.
day.
We could just do a whole new show once a week and just let you rant.
Right?
We need topics. We need
Seriously.
topics. So that's my thing. Is I'm not very good at preparing it. I don't want to necessarily pick out the way it's going to go down. But it's funny how one thing leads to another, and it's just there's so much.
I don't think you understand how much information you have and how and how much people appreciate that and appreciate your take on everything. So this has been great.
He probably doesn't get it because it's his
I'm
mind.
grateful.
But yeah, people.
Yeah, he lives in that brain.
Yeah, people listen to you, so they love listening to you. You have an amazing mind, IET. I'm being serious. I'm not just telling you that. You do. And that's why you have such a following. People follow you from account to account. That's why you've been cute. And you have your mind you have a special mind, and you have a good heart. You're a good human being, and we're lucky to have you in this movement. You know.
Well, I do appreciate that, but I will be the first one to say I have made several posts where it was fake news and I totally missed it, and I posted it. I've totally done it. I've been wrong. I've been wrong tons of times, and so I think the bottom line is people just need to understand that you're not always going to have the first and the right answer, but it is kind of important to make sure that you vet out and spend your time making sure the sauce is there linking the information, proving it that what it is you have to say is factual. It's one thing to be like, okay, yeah, sure, let's talk about all of the conspiracy theories that we cannot necessarily prove. But if you then talk as if they are factual without any evidence, then it just kind of loses your credibility. And as us being the media now, as Q says, we need to be able to report to the normies who, believe me, they will not look into it. They're just going to trust what we say. They're doing the exact same thing that they were doing before, except they just believe us now. Right. And they'll open their eyes eventually and see some more of it as it all comes out. But what we say, people take as truth. And so I go back and I'm like, I got to delete that real quick. I cannot believe I said that. So
well, we're all human, but I think it's important we keep each other in line. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if I would hope that somebody, if I post something and I don't have the sauce for it, or I'm kind of jumping to conclusions, I would hope somebody will say something to me like, hey, dude, you might want to chill on that one for a minute till we
of course, you know. And there's definitely people that go around and they do that. They monitor and they kind of moderate what other people are posting, and they say, yeah, you should probably post sauce for that. And some people are pretty aggressive about it and some are less aggressive. I try not to cause conflict. I think most people have genuine hearts and they just get excited about information, and they think that the possibility of it being true is more enticing than it actually being true. And so they jump the gun a little bit, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad people or they have bad intentions. Although there are definitely shills who will go out and intentionally mislead us. Austin Steinbart being one of those, right?
True that. So keep your guard up, folks. That's for sure.
Right? Truth. It just makes us human. There's a lot of that. It just makes us human. But I think as long as you stay humble and open to people giving you feedback, you know what I mean? Then you're good. You're just going to progress and evolve and do a better job at what you do. So.
Yeah.
Or you have an IQ above Trump, and then you can just understand it all.
Right.
And who does? I don't.
Probably me, because I mean,
of course, naturally.
The whole
naturally.
I'm wicked smart.
So smart. Well, you're absolutely hilarious, which does require a good deal of intelligence to be witty.
Thanks.
True. It's true. That's why the left can't meme. That's why the left can't meme.
They can't. Well, yeah. They always give a punchline.
They can't.
They give the punchline in the meme. You can't say it. Orange.
They do.
Like if the answer is written down for you, then there's no.
They also write paragraphs.
Moment.
There's no they're not succinct. It's like paragraphs. It's like, dude, I got like TLDR, like, or what is it? Yeah, too long, didn't read. Sorry, dude. I fell asleep reading your meme.
Right.
Totally true. Totally true.
All right, dudes. Well, we should cut this off before.
What is it, like past 2 hours? Yeah, it's going past 2
hours.
Yeah.
No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Right? No, you hang up. No, you got to do it.
We will definitely do this again. Everybody's already saying that you need to come back.
Thank you to all the mods. We really appreciate you, and all the Patriots in the chat for joining us tonight. A lot of really good questions. We had a great time with you guys. Thank you, IET, for coming on. I hope we get to do a part 2 very soon. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it again.
All right.
All right. Love you guys.
All right. Love you guys. Good night, Patriots.
Good night.